What car are you driving right now? Leave it in the comments. Year, make, model, mileage. Be honest with me. Here's why I'm asking. In 2026, there's a flood of used hybrids hitting the market. Cars bought new between 2010 and 2018, all aging fast, all showing up online at prices that look like a steal. And people are buying them without knowing what they're actually getting into. You see a used hybrid for $8,000. Great mileage, low price, looks clean. Bargain, right? Then, 6 months later, a warning light comes on and somebody hands you a $5,000 estimate. That $8,000 bargain just got a lot more expensive. I'm not here to say all used hybrids are bad. Some of these systems last 250,000 miles on the original battery. But not every hybrid ages the same way. Some have earned terrible real-world reputations that their asking prices don't reflect at all. Today, 5 used hybrids I'd be very careful with, and 2 that have actually earned their reputation. The specific year and generation matters enormously. I'll tell you exactly which ones to watch. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe. Honest shop floor perspective. No fluff, no sponsored content. And as we go through this list, drop in the comments if you've ever owned one of the cars I bring up. Your experience might save somebody else from an expensive mistake. Let's get into it. 5. Ford Fusion Hybrid 2013-2018. The Fusion Hybrid is genuinely attractive on the used market. Sharp-looking sedan, comfortable interior, mid-40s MPG, and prices that make you want to call the seller immediately. I get the appeal. The problem starts with the lithium-ion battery pack. Li-ion is more sensitive to heat than the nickel-metal hydride chemistry Toyota uses, and the Fusion's thermal management system has a documented history of not keeping up, especially in warmer climates. When that cooling system underperforms, the battery ages faster than it should. But the battery isn't even the first thing I'd worry about. The 6-speed automatic transmission in this generation can develop real problems after years of stop-and-go hybrid driving. The battery energy control module throws fault codes that are expensive to diagnose if your shop isn't deeply familiar with Ford's hybrid architecture, and inverter failures show up more frequently than they should on a mainstream family sedan. Battery replacement runs $3,500 to $6,000 OEM before labor. Aftermarket options exist, but quality varies. Transmission work on top of that, and a $9,000 used car can quietly become a $15,000 car. Still worth considering if the price is genuinely low, there's documented battery replacement with paperwork, or you're mechanically capable of handling the diagnostics yourself. Otherwise, I'd keep scrolling. 4. Chevrolet Malibu Hybrid 2016-2019. The Malibu Hybrid is a different problem. Not so much that it's a disaster, but that it's hard to justify the hybrid premium on the used market. This is a mild 2-motor hybrid system. The real-world fuel savings are modest. You're getting maybe 38 to 42 mpg in daily driving, which isn't dramatically better than some conventional competitors from the same era. So the entire reason most people reach for a used hybrid starts to fall apart. On top of that, the hybrid electronics in this generation have had reliability concerns, not catastrophic battery failure, but control module issues that are expensive to sort out and harder to find a shop familiar with. GM's hybrid architecture in these sedans doesn't have the widespread independent repair support that Toyota systems do. Parts availability for a niche GM hybrid from 2016 is getting thinner every year. The 9-speed automatic transmission paired with this system has its own documented history of problems, separate from the hybrid components entirely. The core issue, you're accepting hybrid system risk without getting proportional hybrid system benefit. If the numbers don't add up new, they don't get better used. 3. BMW Active Hybrid 5 and 7 2012-2015. This is the one that looks like an absolute steal and turns into a financial trap. A 2013 BMW 5 Series for $13,000. Leather, panoramic sunroof, smooth turbocharged inline-6, a car that was $70,000 new. I completely understand the temptation. The reason it's $13,000 is because everyone who's owned one knows what maintaining it costs. The engineering is legitimate. The problem is the bill for everything when something goes wrong. And on a 10-plus-year-old German luxury hybrid, things go wrong. The high-voltage battery replacement runs $5,000 to $9,000 or more, depending on the vehicle and where you take it. Aftermarket options are limited because these vehicles exist in small numbers and the battery configuration is complex. But honestly, the battery almost isn't my first concern. It's everything else. Air suspension failures, high-pressure fuel injection service, complex cooling circuits, electrical gremlins. Every single one of those repairs costs significantly more than on a Toyota or Honda, and they stack up fast on a car this age. I've seen buyers get $13,000 cars and spend $10,000 in repairs within 2 years. Not one catastrophic failure, just normal aging on a complex luxury vehicle, one $1,500 bill at a time. The math is simple. These cars are cheap to buy and expensive to own. If you can't afford the maintenance on a $70,000 BMW, you can't afford this one either, regardless of what you paid for it. 2 Lexus RX 450h, 2006-2015 first and second gen. A luxury SUV with Toyota's hybrid pedigree at a fraction of its original price. The appeal is obvious, and the overall build quality is genuinely impressive. But there are specific things happening inside this vehicle that most buyers walking up to a clean example have no idea about. The RX 450iH is significantly heavier than a Prius. The hybrid system is working harder, the battery cycles more intensively, and the thermal demands on the system are higher. Battery replacement OEM runs $4,000 to $8,000 plus before labor. That alone changes the risk equation. Then there's the inverter coolant pump, a small electric pump that circulates coolant through the inverter to keep it from overheating. On the 2006-2012 generation especially, this pump is a known failure point. When it fails, the inverter runs hot. When the inverter runs hot long enough, you have a more expensive problem than a pump. It's not universal, but it's something I specifically check every single time one of these comes into the shop. The rear electric motor systems, which provides AWD on demand, is another component that can develop problems on high mileage examples, and it's not a cheap repair. The generation distinction matters. 2016 and newer RX 450h is a meaningfully better vehicle. The earlier concerns were substantially addressed. If you want one of these, look at 2016 Plus and still get the hybrid system professionally inspected first. 1 Honda Accord Hybrid 2014-2017. This is the one that surprises people most. Honda, the Accord, one of the most reliable nameplates in automotive history. How is it on this list? Because the 2014-2017 Accord Hybrid is not the same car as a conventional Accord. Honda used a 2-motor hybrid system here. The gasoline engine primarily acts as a generator, while the electric motors handle most of the propulsion. It's clever engineering. The fuel economy numbers, mid to upper 40s mpg, are genuinely impressive for a full-size mid-size sedan. But this system has real-world reliability problems that stand in stark contrast to the Accord name. The battery shows premature degradation on some examples. Capacity drop that becomes noticeable earlier than you'd hope. More concerning is the power control unit. The PCU manages electrical flow between the battery, the motors, and the generator, and when it fails on this vehicle, it's a $4,000 to $8,000 conversation. The electric motor assembly itself has also required replacement on some high-mileage examples at costs in that same range. The diagnostic process is complicated by the fact that many shops aren't deeply familiar with this specific system, which can lead to misdiagnosis and multiple shop visits before the real problem is identified. Important distinction, the 2018 and newer Accord Hybrid is a substantially revised vehicle. Honda made meaningful changes to the system for 2018, and the reliability picture is significantly better. If you love the Accord Hybrid, look at 2018 and up. The 2014-2017 generation carries risk the newer one does not. Now, after all that, you might think I'm about to tell you to stay away from every used hybrid on the planet. I'm not, because there are 2 hybrids I've seen come through shops with mileage that would scare most buyers, and they just keep going. Recommended 1 Toyota Prius, 2010-2022, 3rd and 4th gen. I know, predictable, but there's a reason it's predictable, and that reason is real-world data. The 3rd generation Prius, 2010-2015, uses nickel metal hydride battery chemistry, the same tech Toyota has been refining for decades. NIMH handles temperature stress and deep cycling better than most lithium alternatives. More importantly, Toyota's hybrid system is specifically programmed to keep the battery in a middle operating range, never fully charging, never fully depleting. That shallow cycling strategy is a primary reason these batteries last as long as they do. I have personally seen 200,000 and 250,000 mile Priuses running on original batteries. That's not marketing. That's what I've seen in the shop. The battery cooling uses cabin air pulled through interior vents. Simple, effective, and worth keeping clean. Clogged vents are the number one thing I find on high mileage Priuses that have had battery stress. 5 minutes with a vacuum clears them. What still needs attention, the inverter coolant pump is a known maintenance item on 2010-2015 examples. Proactive replacement around 100,000 miles is smart. EGR carbon buildup at high mileage, headlight issues on the second gen, and the 12-volt auxiliary battery needing periodic replacement. These are manageable. None of them are $5,000 surprises. Battery replacement if needed, $1,000 to $2,000 remanufactured from established suppliers, $2,000 to $3,500 OEM. Parts are everywhere. Shops that know this system are everywhere. And the aftermarket battery industry for the Prius is as mature as it gets. Best years 2010-2015 for the best value on the used market. The 2016 to 2022 fourth generation is an even better vehicle, just pricier. Recommended to Toyota Camry Hybrid 2012 to 2017. The Camry Hybrid doesn't get the same attention as the Prius, and that's exactly why it's one of the most underappreciated used hybrid values in the market right now. Same hybrid synergy drive system underneath, same battery management strategy, same shallow cycling approach that protects the pack. The Camry is heavier than a Prius, so the system works a bit harder, but Toyota's engineering handles it. The long-term battery reliability data on these vehicles is genuinely strong. What you get that the Prius doesn't offer, a full mid-size sedan interior, a more conventional driving experience, and a car that most people on the road won't even recognize as a hybrid. Real-world fuel economy of 36 to 42 mpg, not Prius level, but meaningfully better than a conventional Camry. What to watch? Oil consumption on the 2.5-liter engine at high mileage? Ask about it and do a compression test if the miles are up there. EGR carbon deposits over time. The inverter coolant pump, same as the Prius. Brake rotors can develop uneven wear because regenerative braking means the physical brakes get used less. Have them inspected. Battery replacement. $200 to $2,500 remanufactured, $2,500 to $4,000 OEM. Same robust parts and service ecosystem as the Prius. A 2013-2016 Camry Hybrid with solid service history and a passing battery inspection, available in the $10,000 to $14,000 range, is one of the better used car purchases available to someone who drives real miles and wants real fuel savings with real reliability behind them. One rule above all others: never trust a clean dashboard. Sellers clear fault codes before listing cars. The light goes off, the car gets listed, you buy it, the light comes back. Always have the hybrid battery ECU scanned specifically, and not just the standard engine codes. You want a state of health reading and any stored fault history, even codes that aren't currently active. This costs $75 to $150 at an independent hybrid specialist. It is not optional. Beyond that, check the battery cooling system for blockages, load test the 12-volt auxiliary battery, and test drive for at least 20 to 30 minutes on both highway and city roads. Watch the battery gauge, and if it drops fast and struggles to recover, that's capacity loss. If the engine is running almost constantly on a full hybrid, the battery isn't doing its job. If the vehicle has a replacement battery, get the paperwork. Know who installed it, what type it is, and exactly what the warranty covers. Some warranties are prorated, some are tied to the original installer. Read it before you count on it. And one more thing, if the car spent its life in Arizona, Texas, or Nevada, that matters. Heat is the primary long-term enemy of hybrid battery chemistry. It doesn't disqualify the vehicle, but it's a real data point. The sticker price tells you what it costs to buy the car. It doesn't tell you what it's going to cost to keep it on the road. A used hybrid with a proven system, healthy battery, and a realistic inspection behind it can be one of the smartest purchases in the used market. A cheap hybrid with aging electronics and expensive failure modes can quietly become one of the most expensive mistakes you'll make. Research the specific year, not just the model name. Get the inspection. Know what a battery replacement would cost before you need one. And calculate the actual fuel savings based on miles you really drive, not the EPA sticker. Drop in the comments, what are you driving right now, how many miles, and has it been reliable? If you're looking at a specific used hybrid, tell me which one. Your comment might become the next video. Take care of yourselves, and get that battery scanned before you buy it.